Okay, it is a very nice summer evening, but I am also very tired. But here's what's going to happen right now. I'm challenging myself to do something that, who knows if this is going to work? Who knows what's going to come out of it? But I was inspired by something that Songtown guys said a few days ago in a video that they put out. That basically amounts to this, like, just put your butt in the chair. Like, sometimes it's just time to get to work. Like, show up, sit down, and just get to it. I've got 3 songs that are in various stages of incompletion. I'm going to sort of challenge myself to put my butt in the chair and finish all 3 tonight. So we'll see. Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't. I'm not going to settle for bad songs, I'll tell you that. But I'm hoping that something good will happen here. Here's what we got. 1, the least completed, is an idea I have for a song that I want to put on a forthcoming EP whose time is coming due. Like, we've got a release gig booked in like 2 months. I haven't finished writing, obviously, nor have we recorded the last 2 songs on that. So this is one that I have like a title. I really want to cover this topic if I can. Really want to just get something, bang something out that's good, that balances out. This is like the final song idea. I either get it or I don't. Second is another song for that EP where I have 1 complete verse, 1 partial verse, and I'm looking to finish the second verse, get a third verse, and kind of sketch out what else will make this song complete. But like, I already have music written for the verses, for instance. Third is a collaboration that I just introduced because I'm not busy enough. I'm just not. Lyricist who had some words that I thought had some potential. I sent him like an idea of how the verse and the chorus could go. He said, "Great, let's do it." And we talked a little bit about the words he already had for second and third verse, and I said, first task we had to do is we got to polish those to fit the melody of this first verse that I've sent you. And I was going to do it. Then he sent me a stab at it, a revision. So I'm going to see how that goes, and I'm going to just try to get that all together. And I know I'm going to have to come up with a bridge. He's got some words for a bridge, but I don't have music for a bridge yet. So I'll go get my butt in the chair. Let's see what happens. Alright, so this video's off to a great start because I sat down and got to work and didn't record anything that I was doing. I thought I was, but I did not. So, I've finished 1. That's the good news. So, let me walk you through what I did do, like how I went about it. And maybe that's better than watching me do it for 30 minutes, because it did take some time. Alright. So, as I've mentioned in other videos, I've got like a big repository of like little ideas, little snippets, little bits. For this particular EP, for this particular project, I have like what in my mind is kind of like a specific set of directions, or like a musical direction I'm trying to gravitate towards. And although it hasn't like turned out exactly like what I had in mind, I was kind of inspired to a little more of a surf feel, a little more bluesy, and also kind of, this is a protest album, so I'm going to draw in some other kind of protest music kind of influences, but I want to kind of go over in that space. So I have a special folder for things I think might work for that, and I just started looking through the ones I haven't used yet, like listening to them, and I sort of hit on this one. Well, I'll go one step before that. So this is what the original lick was. Okay, so I had like this little idea for a lick when I recorded it, and then I sort of scat the lick and add some chords to give it, you know, enough body that I can, you know, work with it. Can hear it more fleshed out. As a best practice, I like to give myself, if I can, 2 to 4 of them in a row so that I can sing over it, which is what I then did next. It'll be hard to hear, but I just got up my phone and, you know, put that thing on the speakers and just like had an idea, and that's kind of where the filming myself fell down, because I used a different camera and didn't actually turn it on.
Okay, I don't know if this is good or not. Idea for the Bodysnatcher thing.
It's great.
The words don't make any sense. Need to work that out.
So yeah, these words are nonsense, or they're sort of a feeling.
When the Bodysnatcher come, he gonna get you. He's gonna get you. When the Bodysnatcher call, he's gonna let you. Gonna let you. When the Bodysnatcher go, he won't forget you. Won't forget you. When the Bodysnatcher fall, we're gonna let you. Gonna let you something. Bodysnatcher,
Okay, so
when the Bodysnatcher fall, we're gonna let you.
So it's like one step further. Okay, now I've got kind of like this is what it sounds like. This is kind of like, this is the cadence of these words. Now I gotta like make the words make a little more sense, and just kind of riffed on it for a while. I got out my guitar, I could listen back to this if I kind of lost my sense of where it was, but I don't think I needed to. And then I just kind of started writing stuff down and thinking about, so it's not like this all just came out all at once. Like, I started making decisions about how it was gonna, go. So I liked that first thing. When the Bodysnatcher comes, he's gonna get you, gonna get you. So I was like, oh, great. And then I came up with some rhymes or some things that worked. And then I pretty quickly came to the realization, look, I don't want this to be Dr. Seuss. I don't want to come up with the 16 words that sound like getcha. I'm going to allow myself to reuse some of these. That's okay. Normally, kind of a best practice or a rule of thumb or a strong preference for me is not to reuse words. But sometimes reusing words is the right decision. Sometimes it's the right word. Sometimes that's the right way to say something. Sometimes the thought just naturally leads you to reiterate naming something as it is. And in this case, it was like, it's kind of got this call and response feel to it that's coming out. So it's like, when the Bodysnatcher comes, they're gonna get you, gonna get you. There ain't nothing at all that he'll arrest you, he'll arrest you. They throw you in the hole, but let him get you, let him get you. 50,000 buys a soul, but I won't let you, I won't let you. So, and I just wrote it. I was kind of sloppy playing it and singing it. Kind of lost my cohesion for a second there. But yeah, okay, so I've got, that's a verse right there. Then I'm just thinking structurally, you know what? I'm just going to let this be this thing. It's kind of catchy on its own. I don't think I need to go verse and chorus. I'm going to let that be a thing, and kind of like a blues song, I'll let some solos give me some relief. So, all right, now Gene gets a guitar solo. Then we come back in. Here's a second verse. Then, I've got, another space for solos. Now I need a third verse. And in those verses, I wanted to make sure that I kind of, as I've discussed, that I didn't just tread water and say the same thing over and over. Treading water, second verse problem. So, moving ahead from the establishment of what I'm talking about to going a little deeper about what's wrong with it in my mind, and then going a little deeper into how I think it's going to be defeated, how I think it's, this problem is going to ultimately collapse what I think that we need to do about it. So that was kind of my 3-verse structure. And then I thought, all right, now I'd like to do a fade. Instead of a bridge, I'm going to do a fade. In other words, we just go to a brand new section, and then we ride that to the end. And that's sort of consistent with some other things that we've done in this particular album. And so I looked again through the library of ideas that I had, and I found one that I thought, this is a very different feel, but it's going to give us an opportunity to like kind of expand and let Gene kind of stretch his legs, and maybe we can. There's some special guests that I'm kind of trying to find space for. This would be a space that we can have a special guest. So it's a simple thing, and feel-wise, it kind of remains to be seen how closely will I push it to match that kind of galloping slowly, clip-clopping, horses on the trail kind of 6/8 kind of feel, or will I let it just jump to a different feel, which we've done with one of the other songs on this EP, so maybe we'll do it with this one too, but this is what I chose. Yeah, I think you probably can't hear that very well. So, if I chose to keep it there, so I like that. I like that progression a lot, and I want to leave some space that we're going to do. We're going to let that be a place where we explore it instrumentally. So that song is done. That's how I feel about that. Like, I don't need to do anything more. It's time to take it to the band and record. So let's move on to one of the other ones. Okay, so now I'm going to take a peek at the collaboration. I'm going to take a peek at what he sent me. And so this is what we have so far, and this, I've been sitting on this, sitting with this for a day, and at this point I think this is locked in, as far as I'm concerned. This, I don't really see a reason that this should be changed. I don't think that he has sent me any changes to this, but I'm gonna consider this locked in at the moment. You are here and I am there, running circles trapped in place. I at east while you go west, searching for a saving grace, hoping that our paths will cross and bring us to a shared embrace. You are... So that's a verse. That's a verse right there. Just let me suddenly stop myself. Here's the chorus. You are here in my heart and in my mind, always near till the distant end of time. I know I've waited far too long to mend the ways that went so wrong. Nothing else could be so crystal clear. If you're there, I am here. Okay, so in that, those verse lyrics, those verse 1 lyrics are his, I think, without any changes for me. The chorus, I modified the lyrics substantially, but kept many things that he had said, and also so all the music is mine. All the melodies for both sections and the chord changes, those are mine. So here's one of the things that stood out to me. So this first verse is very consistent. It's this, the stresses, the syllables, it's highly consistent and it's very singable, and that's why I gravitated. That's why I thought it had some potential. Just picking up a guitar and singing, it just made it easy to sing it. The other verses, as originally written, were a little less adherent to the pattern established by the first verse. I've now solved, or made a solution, solved the puzzle of the first verse, and so strategically now, as I've talked about many times before, I want us to, I want all the verses to have the same melody. I believe that that's the right thing to do, or the strongest play. And that there'd have to be really compelling reasons, such as you're using a pre-existing text that everybody knows, that you can't modify for you to have to make the melody be elastic. I know that the next task here is to try to, so the litmus, I guess what I'm getting at is, next task is I'm going to look at these words he's written for verses 2 and 3, and I'm going to see if with his revised text, which I have not yet reviewed, he actually just sent me some of it while I was doing the other thing. The ding you heard in the background while I was playing guitar was him sending me some of this. So I haven't even looked at it yet. His final revisions, or his most recent revisions. Here's the task. I'm going to take that verse that I have. You are here and I'm there, running circles, trapped in place. I head east while you go west, searching for a saving grace, hoping that our paths will cross and bring us to a shared embrace. So it's got to fit that. I got to be able to sing these words to that, and I may have to polish them. So this is not to be like a jerk or anything. I would do this exact same thing if the camera weren't running. I would dive in, and if they don't work, if they do work, phenomenal, fantastic. But it's very common that when working with a lyrical collaborator, especially someone who is mostly a lyricist, who's not used to, who isn't used to the assignment of this step of, now we got to make everything adherent to the melody. We got to polish the words for musicality. I have to do that to my own lyrics. I'll write lyrics that I think fit things, and then, or lyrics in advance of music, and then I find a melody I like, and it changes where the emphases need to go. And so I have to nudge things around so that they sound natural in the melody that we're gonna use, that they print into that melody, is another way of saying that. So I'm diving in, have not done this, have not looked at these words before. And so the first thing I see is it's going to, right away, I'm not sure how to gain my entry. The first line of the second verse that he has is, this deep longing drives me crazy. This deep longing drives me crazy. That's as close as I can get on that. And I can tell it's going to need a little, I may circle back to it. Let's see. So there's 7 syllables in you are here and I am there. This deep longing drives me crazy has 8. So first thing I hear is, how about, can I get away with this deep longing drives me mad? Do I like this deep as the lead in? So I may have to come back to that, but it's not the worst. There's some ways to do a minor polish and be right back with it. And it's okay for there to be a tiny tap dance, for there maybe be 1 syllable's variance to either stretch something or else, subdivide a syllable into 2. But we don't want it to be 10 syllables. We don't want to have like a delta of like 3. Probably not a delta of 2. But here we go. This deep longing drives me crazy. I just wanna laugh with you, baby. Ain't that we are worlds apart? So it's not far. It's not far off. Not far off there. Could be close. Now, I think that when I look at some of the words that he chose for his first verse, there's a little more beauty in the word choice. I think that with this polish, he did a really good job of bringing this down to a very close, pretty close on syllables and on stresses. But I think at sacrificing that, is this second verse at the level of like imagery, poetry, beauty, insight, words that you can cling to as a listener and identify with. I'm not sure. And right there, I wasn't paying as close attention to it because I was trying to like navigate it. But let's try again. This deep longing drives me crazy. I just want a life with you, baby. I hate that we are worlds apart. Wanna give you all my heart. Praying time will find a way to restart our lives today. And then into the chorus. You are here. You are here. Okay, let's look at verse 3. I'm going to come back to verse 2 momentarily. If you could read between the lines, we'd fix the past and turn back time. I can't face those empty days, lost inside a lonely maze. My true partner, queen and friend, I will love you till the end. That's a pretty good fit. It's a pretty good fit. So I want to respect that, he's done the work. And this is a collaboration, and these words mean something to him. He's indicated this is a fairly personal song. So I want to, even though I may feel like, oh, this could use a little more of this or that. This could use a little more salt and pepper. I want to be minimal in my intrusion into what he's done lyrically, if I can be. So I may let that sit for now. Yeah, the dog doesn't think I should let it sit. Threats, enemies, deliveries. I get warned about all of them. All right, let's look at the bridge. Yeah, buddy. Come back, be the light in my night, the tender heart that shaped my life. Step out of the shadows into view. Every path I take leads back to you. Okay, so this is going to be on the heels of a chorus. You are here. What I'm going to try to do is just like kind of skydive. I'm going to do the verse, and then I'm going to see melodically where do I want to go. But I'm going to probably just take my guitar out and just kind of free fall melodically and see where I'm headed, see if I can find something I like. You are here. This is the chorus. You are here in my heart and in my mind, always near till the distant end of time. I know I've waited far too long to mend the ways that went so wrong. Nothing else could be so crystal clear. If you're there, I am here. Come back, okay, that would be going straight to where I went with the chorus. So let's try that. If you're there, I am here. I know I thought I was gonna free fall out into nothing, but yeah. So yeah, I feel like okay. Let me just prime myself with that. Maybe I'll give myself just a little bit of a target to go for. If you're there, one of the things I'm thinking about is, okay, these sections all, they kind of have an initial identity from the chord that starts them. And one of the things I've chosen, these are a little bit more cowboy chord than I normally do, although there definitely is some Cody going on along the way. He had, when asking for collaboration, he's envisioning this as like a country song, which is a little bit outside what I normally write, but trying to, again, I see what he's getting at, and I think it can be done, and it's a little bit of a challenge for me. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to think, okay, so I chose, the verses start with a G. Okay, but the chorus, I'm going to this D over C, which really is going to feel like a C. But it's got a little dissonance, a little bit of, a little tension there. This F sharp on the top. So I'm thinking, I'm sitting here on this G, stepwise down to an E minor. Okay, let me see what that sounds like. Come back, come. Look for something that's not what I'm hearing. Come back, you light in my night. The tender heart shaped my life. Back, come back, with the light in my night. The tender heart that shaped my life. Step out of the shadows step out of the shadows into view. Every path I take leads back to you. Okay, so I like that. I may, just so that I can isolate it for myself in a minute, I may do this. Get my little idea thing out. Come back, be the light in my night. The tender heart that shaped my life. Step out of the shadows into view. Every path I take leads back to you. Alright, so that is a bridge idea for You Are Here. Okay, so I think that's the bridge idea for You Are Here. So what am I thinking as I'm doing that? So for me personally as a writer, I like harmony to have some options. But also, like I said, I'm trying to be slightly more conventional. Make some choices that would seem safe, if a little creative in more of like a Nashville writer's room. So chose this E minor that I've already used in the verse. I've actually already used it in both sections. This E minor 7, nice, and that is of course the that's related to this G. It's the under 6 or the relative minor chord. So you can sing a lot of the same stuff over that, but it just has like a different flavor to it. So that's a nice sympathetic minor chord to it. And then I'm choosing one of my favorites, the A minor 9. A really saucy, clustery kind of, A minor with a B in it. So some good dissonance there. And then straighten it out to just a C9, which I like, having that D on top. Again, I like some cluster voicings. And then a D7, a real strong 5 back, which goes easily stepwise into this E minor and feels, it has a lot of the same sort of cadence movement of a traditional 5 to 1. So going 5 to minor 6 is, it feels just fine. All right, so as I'm doing that, I'm like thinking, okay, I'm going to set up more 5 to 1 cadences than I normally would. I often don't write any in a song, which is just sort of a quirk of being me. But as I'm thinking through that, I'm like trying to stick to the assignment, but yet still be me. And mostly make sure that I'm happy with that melody, that I feel it's a contrast. And I think we can make his words work. That melody works. Those chords work. I think that's the solution. I'm happy with that, I think. And with that, having tested these verses, this song is done. That's song number 2 for the day. All right, on to song number 3. Let's go. Button the chair. This is happening. Okay, 2 down, 1 to go. All right, I have a lot of material that I've done on this one. So with this project, part of what it comes down to for me is I'm writing guitar a different way than I normally do, and I'm expecting some things to happen that I can't necessarily play very well because I'm not really that good a guitar player. I certainly I'm no lead guitarist. Like, I don't really have scales flying under my fingers. I'm a pretty good rhythm guitarist. I can change chords cleanly, and as a lifelong drummer, I'm better than most at like making a groove happen out of just chords and shucking and jiving over here. But when I have to like play something linear on the guitar, I often struggle. And that is the case with this lick that I'm trying to use for this thing. I like this lick. It's gonna be the lick. It's probably gonna be Gene who plays it, not me, but I'll try to do it slowly. It's do-ba-do, and it helps me to scat it. That helps me like kind of, I guess, fill the gap. Ba-do-dee, da-ba-da-dee, da-dee, da-dee, da-ba-do-do, ta-ta-ta-kit, do-la-kit. Ba-da-dee, ga-dee, da-dee, da-ba-do, ta-kit, then up a fourth. Da-ba-da-dee, da-dee, da-dee, da-da-da, ta-kit, da-da-da-da-kit. Ba-ba-da-dee, da-dee, da-dee, da-da-da, ta-kit, da-da-da-da-kit. Okay, so that's my little surf lick, because it's got this thing that I also can't do, but Gene will do that. Gene can do anything, so I've got options because I've got Gene. All right, so I'm gonna simplify that significantly. This is what I've got going on so far. I've got gotta believe we could do better than barely defeat these guys. I gotta believe we could do they only promise to lie. Gotta believe it's really not as simple, easy as 1, 2, 3. I gotta believe these principles matter. Someone will stand up for me. Oh, I still believe. I still believe. Ooh. I gotta believe the future is brighter and the darkness goes down in defeat. Okay. Gotta believe. Fighter, gotta believe, still believe. Okay, let's come back to that. Okay, so I have like kind of a brainstorm of different gotta believes. And what I want to do is just probably pull these into 3 verses. And so, again, that's a full first verse that I'm happy with, and it sets up some patterns that I might like to just keep letting those patterns be kind of act in the role that a chorus would, which is be the familiar. Yep, here it comes again. I know that part, and so I like this. Easy as 1, 2, 3. I like that part, and then of course the turnaround is in like a bluesy song. The turnaround oftentimes is kind of where you get that effect of a chorus because everyone feels that turnaround coming. I have a little bit of a different turnaround. To believe, oh, I still believe. Maybe 4. Oh, I still believe in me. Gonna believe the future. So I'm gonna leave the future is brighter and darkness goes down to defeat. I've got to believe the people have spoken. Got to believe we're in this together. Okay. Let's try it. Got to believe this. So, I want to like kind of have a little bit of having these speakers on is gonna really throw me. I normally just have headphones for everything. Okay. So I might not be able to do this all like sitting here under the time pressure of the cameras rolling. But what I'm gonna be doing is taking the things that I have brainstormed already, the ideas I have as like potential, and I'm gonna ultimately want to like work them. But I don't want to fall into the trap of treading water, as I've talked about before. So I want to kind of think about like the first verse, what is it doing for me? And regardless of whether or not you share the political, message of this song, and if you don't, honestly, I don't want to hear about it in the comments. If you just want to debate politics with me, I'll be deleting your comment. You can go do that somewhere else. But if you want to think about songwriting and expressing yourself and how to structurally do that, this is what I'm going to try to talk about. So yeah, I'm expressing a political opinion in this song, and what I have to do is think about like what's my arc here. So this is different from say like a love song or a song about deep sadness. So I'm setting up, probably we're talking about 3 verses, and I want it to be like a 3-act structure. There's establishment, development, solution. We establish these people, we get them, we establish this situation, we establish the characters, get them into trouble, and then save the day. Kind of 3-act, beginning, middle, end. So I feel good that in just a few lines I've pretty much established what I'm talking about. That I'm establishing a point of view, a tone, a perspective, and something that's in focus here, which is frustration with politicians and a desire for people who stand up for me. So some of the things are said explicitly there. So I gotta believe that we could do better than barely defeating this. So it doesn't matter, but what comes after? So what next? And how does it end? I think that the hope has to move forward there. Got to get a little deeper into what bring the hope into relief, and then kind of talk about like how I think one of the ideas that I have that actually was like a little further up, and so I was tempted to like draw it into the second verse, is we're in this together. I think I'm going to move we're in this together as kind of the anchor of the third one. So looking at these, I think, of the things I already have, where I would organize these, I'm going to shuffle some things from where I have them on the page here. I'm going to go, second verse is going to anchor on future. I got to believe the future is brighter. So bring that hope forward. And the third verse is going to anchor on, I got to believe that we're in this together. So I think I'm gonna really adhere closely to this pattern, or to the lyrical pattern. Like I'm gonna allow the, like, I think I need 2 good couplets and then fall back to, gotta believe it's really that simple, as easy as 1, 2, 3, and then maybe something that's unique to each. So yeah, so what I'm thinking about is ways in which I won't have a strict refrain, but enough that we're, when we go to the 4, so we've gone here, we got gotta believe, the first thing, gotta believe, the first thing is singing, and still on the 1, gotta believe, so this is sort of the second thought, then when we go to the 4, this is where we're basically doing what amounts to a pre-chorus. It's the easy as 1, 2, 3. Gotta believe it's really that simple, easy as 1, 2, 3. I gotta believe something. And then when we go back to the 1, I'll let that be something that's unique. So I really am looking for three things to say about, the second or third verse. So I want 3 things that kind of take hope forward, and then 3 things that take togetherness and standing together, working together, coming together forward. And then I don't know, I think this may be another one where, let's just stick to, this EP has got kind of a vibe to it, where it's like we're doing these bluesy things, these simple forms, these shorter songs. Solos kind of give us some relief, and then maybe we've got a fade where we jump to something different. So I'll be looking at those 2 things. I'll be looking to find, maybe a fade for this, and to fill out those verses. Let me check back. Okay, so I've got my verses. Happy with those. I've got my 3 verses. I've polished them out, figured out, worked over the lyrics. It was not something you wanted to be watching me do on camera, but you got to take your time and you got to just do it. And this is kind of what it looks like. Like, for instance, I gotta believe we're in this together. What comes next? So just saying, just kind of letting that loop, thing after thing, rejecting thing after thing, seeing a little something that comes up. Well, you know what? I like this idea of the wolf, letting, and finally coming up with, gotta believe we're in this together. Together we'll beat the wolf back. And even though, again, best practice, don't use the same word over and over if it's not. But I'm like, those back-to-back togethers, I like the sound of it. It's a really rhythmic word. It's really, it's got a lot of, sharp percussiveness to it. Together. I like it. And it just worked. It sounded good, and it means something. So I bent the rule, bent the best practice, used it. I gotta believe we're in this together. Together we'll beat the wolf back. Then that locked me into a little bit of a difficult rhyme, because I do want it to rhyme, but I don't want it to rhyme at the expense of saying something stupid for the second half of it. Something that's, chasing the rhyme. It's got to have some meaning. So that took a little bit of time, and I liked the first half of what I came up with after that, which is I gotta believe that shoulder to shoulder. I was like, yeah, I like that. Again, this third verse is about coming together, working together, standing together, shoulder to shoulder. That's a great evocative phrase. It means something. It has some overtones and it has some undertones. That's a phrase that shoulder to shoulder, evokes sort of the image of the fight, the image of people coming together, unionize, or to have to fight a common foe. So I like that. And then it took me, I was like, what am I going to make rhyme with? It's got to really beat the wolf back. And I thought, well, I could use beat the wolf down. Could use that. So I experimented with both, trying to look for, is there something, where am I landing? Is there a target I like? And then I settled on crack. I'm like, okay, maybe I can make that work. Because I can picture how, but I don't have much time to make it work. I don't have much time to like paint that picture. So I better figure out what it's going to be without it being awkward or forced. And I settled on, gotta believe that shoulder to shoulder the walls of the wicked will crack. And I like that alliteration. I liked there's a little bit of a bridge from wall and will to shoulder. The walls of the wicked, and wicked also ties to that crack. So these sympathetic sounds, it sounds silly to talk about it, but if you can find sympathetic sounds, they really do create these like sinews, these sort of phonetic sinews that make things pop, make things interesting. It's interesting to sing, it's interesting to hear, it's interesting that not only does it have these, they're kind of like accents in drumming, you can sit here and just play the same thing, or it's the accents that make it sing. It's the things that pop out that make that interesting. It's just 16th notes. But if I accentuate some of them louder than others within the exact same flow, it makes it sing. Similarly, when you're coming up with lyrics, it makes it sing if you got some sounds that pop out. And one thing that makes sounds pop out is when you use the same sound, not just rhymes, but l. That things are important words have similar sounds, and so that's not something I thought of today. That's something that's a device or a goal or something I'm looking for among the dozens of things you're trying to like look for and gather from. The ways you can solve that puzzle. That's one of those things that I know, hey, I like that. That elevates this language for me. That elevates this text for me. So yeah, I'm happy with these words. And now, hey, let's find a fade. Let's find something, an idea that I had, a musical idea that I think could be used to sort of have that musical relief that a bridge might otherwise provide, but be in the space of, we can just fade this thing out. We can take however long we want and let it evolve however it evolves. There's no pressure. It's just how the song ends. Like how She's So Heavy ends with this thing, or that's not the name of that song, is it? No, I can't even think. The Beatles song, She's So, it's a totally new feel, totally new thing, and just, and what a great ending. What a great device. What a great idea. So that's a really legitimate, it doesn't get used as much today, these days, but great device, great tradition of doing that to like introduce a whole new thing that is a place for the music to kind of go in a new direction and blossom into something and like create that new sense of like surprise and a new like just open your ears and take it all in kind of thing. Anyway, hey, let's find one in this pile of ideas I have here, hopefully. So I'm just going to go through some of these. I'm just going to play them. I'm going to see, does this strike me as a thing that can, it doesn't have to be at the speed that I'm doing it here. I could change the feel to match if I wanted, or I could let it be a different feel. So we're going do. Okay, too similar. I don't want to go that route. Here's a different one. Okay, that one's a little, I think it's an homage to, I think that it's a little too close to Rumble. I hear that, I'm like, I don't know why I didn't think, hey, Is that a little bit like mixed to your wings, or what do you think there, buddy? Like I said, when you're coming up with musical ideas, this is important. This is important. When you're coming up with musical ideas, just get them down and then evaluate them later. Some of these, I'm like, okay, I don't think I'll be using that. I think that that sort of jittery thing, I was thinking, well, in surf, the rumble of that dun dun dun, that's a iconic one. That was meant to be like taking an idea that's like that and kind of making it jitter with odd time, but I think it sounds too close, and I think I missed the boat. That one's not ready. It's not one I would want to use. It's too close to its inspiration. Normally I don't do things where I'm like trying to be so clearly inspired, but because I'm writing in a style that's not what I usually do, there are some tropes like the that kind of thing. That's just like, hey, that's kind of the iconic thing that everybody does, and I just want to lean into that. But anyway, this one, let's see how this goes. I don't think so, but maybe. Okay, that one's not gonna be. That's too much of an idea for an actual song. I don't think it ventures far enough away from. I want it to be different, and let's try this. Well, that is certainly okay, so what I like about it, very, very different character, beautiful, like that has something special all on its own. Like that's something I want that to be something. Now, there's another piece of music like, ooh, make that its own song. That's very fertile ground to like have be its own thing, not just a fade to this song. But here's the thing, you got to put your good stuff. You got to use the good pickles on this sandwich, buddy. You got to stop saving those good pickles. You got to stop saving them for the right time. Don't give the guests the good pick. You got to use the good pickles sometimes. I'm very tempted to try that one out. I'm very tempted to see how that goes. Let's see, where are we? And it might require that I, kind of. Okay. Is that still our? Yeah. Yeah, that's just that's too good a pickle. I'm gonna use that. So, yeah, I need to. So let me think. If we're going. I skipped ahead to the. Okay, yeah, I like that transition. I'm committing that it can be, I can scat that thing. I'm not going to put lyrics to that. I'm going to let that be like just a melody that we have. That can totally be the fade. I like that. I really love that. That was very beautiful. And I'm going to use a good pickle. I'm going to use one of the good pickles on this one. So, 3 songs. 3 songs down. Nice. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. Good pickles and all. Okay, so a few final thoughts on this experiment. So again, to recap, it was inspired by Songtown guys and their video where they sort of talked about like what makes a pro, and part of what they, one of the things they said is, get your butt in the chair. Like, don't wait for inspiration to strike. I don't know if they said this in that video or if they've said it in another video, but they quoted somebody. So it's third-hand information here, but I liked it. It's that, this idea of like not waiting around for the muse to strike, but that they sit down, put your butt in the chair, and invite the muse to join you. And sure enough, like if you just put your mind to it, like I don't know, maybe I just got lucky here tonight, and I think it helped that these have been percolating, these have been marinating, these have been I've been sitting with the desire to write these things, and some of the work already done for a while. But sure enough, put my butt in this chair and set this goal of I want to do 3 tonight. And maybe it may look from the surface like, well, I'm settling. I don't feel bad about any of the decisions. I don't feel rushed or bad about any of the decisions. There's a piece of me that sits there and is like, is that really done? Should I sit with that? Should I think about it? But my inner monologue is saying, that is good. It's not that it's good enough. That's good. There is no need to like, let me review all the rest of them. That one right there, that's the one I want to use. That spoke to me, for instance, on the fade for the other. So, and I'm no stranger to having things happen quickly when I write songs. I just don't usually document it for you. But so I feel confident, like when you know, like, and and I've talked about that recently, but you'll know when you found it. You'll know when you're happy with it. And that is all that matters. So I'm happy with all 3 of these songs. I'm stoked about it. This was very fruitful. I'm very excited about these, and mission accomplished. Glad I put my butt in the chair. All right, till next time. Get out there and write.